Hi, Aquarius. I really appreciate you guys being so patient with me for this reading. As you can tell, I'm still trying to get my voice back. I am getting personal readings out as quick as I can. So if they are still late, I'm getting caught up with them as fast as I can, but I'm also trying to keep my energy level at a good range as well, because if my energy level's not good, I can't produce for you guys, right? And it's very interesting because the last couple of days I've really wanted to do your reading. So I feel like I've actually sat in your energy for some time. I try to not interact with my friends, like the signs that I want to do before, interact with my friends who are the sign. I have several Aquarius friends, and I try not to interact with them because I don't want to project how I'm feeling or where the reading is going based on what's going on in their lives. I want to do it for everybody, right? And I've really felt like a need to kind of get away from everything. And today the moon is in Aquarius, and it's really a time of like stepping back from emotions. And we've talked about how like people often think that Aquarius, you guys are emotionless, that you don't deal with emotions very, very well, blah, blah, blah. I don't see that. I think you guys can be extremely emotional people, or you have a lot of emotions, not like emotional, like in a bad way, but you try to put logic to your emotions. And I don't see anything bad with that. Being a Virgo, I put logic to everything, right? Especially emotions, because sometimes it's really hard to feel that. And when there are things going on in your life that are kind of like coming at you from all sides, all angles, you don't want to deal, And I want to tell you that this month is all about you really stepping into whatever moments that are making you unstable and recognizing that for yourself, and knowing that once you move past all of that, and once you actually acknowledge like what it is that you're trying to run away from or remove yourself from, that's when all of the gifts come in, right? So let's see what April has for you. I'm going to do the rest of April for you. I know that kind of gyps you out on like a second reading for April, but I will make you guys first. You and Pisces are both going to be first for May, because I still have to do the second half for all the other signs. So actually you guys are getting pretty good reading because you'll get the rest of April. So let's see what the rest of April has in store for you. I feel like there's been some shakeups so far. And the energy has been really heavy, and Mercury is in retrograde, and we went through that Saturn and Mars squaring up at the beginning of April, and that's not a comfortable feeling. And I want you to know that there are so many things coming for you that once you get past all of that, once you move past all of this very heavy energy, and the second half of April comes along and you can start manifesting things, then gifts really start to appear. And I see that happening with a couple of signs, actually. So the first card that came out was the Hermit. So if you have a Virgo in your life that is they're coming up really, really prominently. We also have the Fool, and we have the Two of Wands. So the Fool represents Aries. We can also look at this as, I have a direction I need to go, and I really need to look at that very closely on what is the direction that I need for and this is like super kind of what I was saying, where like you're looking at it very logically, very analytically. You're not doing it in a way where you're like the Eight of Swords and you're stuck up in your head and you're like oppressing yourself. You're doing it in a way of, what is my spiritual path? What is that direction that I need to take? Where do I need to find more faith in myself? And I feel like that's the decision that you're trying to make, because you don't want to be stuck in the Two of Wands. This guy has one foot tied to one wand and one hand tied to the other, and he's happily talking to a bird. I call it my comfortably stuck card. And this is where you've been standing, sitting. And it's time to move. It's time for the Aries new moon to make you move. So, what is the decision that you want to make? Where is your spiritual path leading you? And not doing it in a, I want other people to decide for me. It's having faith in yourself, knowing that you can decide for yourself on what to do. Two of Pentacles. A lot of decisions, a lot of things up in the air for you guys. And when we get into that decision mode and we don't push through it, and we kind of sit and ruminate in that, like, I don't know which direction, and that's when the Tower comes along, because that's when the universe is like, it's time to move. And I want you to see, like, that's the thing, is like, I haven't seen the Tower yet, but I feel like that moment is coming if you don't move, if you don't take that step forward. And the Tower doesn't have to be scary, you know, but at the same time, we don't like to be uncomfortable, and I know that Aquarius really doesn't like to be uncomfortable because it's a very logical process, right? And then we have the Knight of Cups. So there could be a water sign in your life you're trying to make a decision about. Or this is also that emotional, like, where do I put my emotional strength right now? That could be the decision you're trying to make. Where do I use my logical, emotional side? There's the Aquarius that I know, the Six of Swords. Coming into a very mental, like, clearly having some mental balance. Coming, you know, you really want to go from rough waters into calmer waters. It could be that you need to go somewhere to do that for you. I feel like you guys are kind of on a precipice of change, of like, not just a very small change in your life. I mean, the Fool is a big deal. The Fool and the Hermit being the first two cards out, this is kind of a big deal. This is like, where is my growth? Where is my spiritual growth coming from? Where am I going to let it lead me? Where am I going to lead it? If you have decisions to make, I want to encourage you to do some meditation and, you know, ask your higher self, what is it that I am missing? And I get questioned a lot, you know, how do I know that it's my higher self and it's not my ego? When it feels good, when it's something that you're not constantly questioning, when it's not that, like, over and over and over self, like, talk in your mind, like, am I doing the wrong thing? Am I doing the wrong thing? That's your higher self. Three of Swords. If you're having to come to a conclusion about something that has hurt you from your past so that you can move forward, and I do feel like that this is kind of that moment of your heart chakra opening, like, how do I step into something new when I feel so wounded still? How do I step into something that I'm unsure of when I've felt so wounded before? How do I step into something different when I feel like I've been deceived so many times, like the Five of Swords? I mean, like, bouncing back and forth with all of this chatter in your mind, the Six of Swords, knowing that you need to come into mental clarity, but, like, I don't know, because things keep happening where I feel like I'm just getting knocked back down over and over and over again. That's when the Three of Swords comes in, when you feel like you've been deceived so much and you've gotten to a point in your life where it's like, I can't handle anymore. I got to get away. I got to go do something, you know? And if you're trying to make a decision on whether you move towards a water sign or away from a water sign or a Virgo or an Aries, and this is where it's like, I would rather just sit in this comfortably stuck position and not stick my neck out and cause rough waters to happen. I feel like you could manage to not let this happen to you. Because to me, the Five of Swords and the Three of Swords is like constantly blocking you from pushing forward. Whether it's a person in your life now, whether it's a person from your past, but you want to move on from it. And the more you try to move on from it, but you go back, and Mercury retrograde is doing this to everybody. Bringing old stuff back in, bringing old wounds back in, bringing things from the past that we can no longer, you know, tuck away into the hope chest for later. You know, like we got to bring it out. And we have to deal. I just realized that the dishwasher is going. Two of Cups. If there's a knowledge and recognition of a very close relationship here that constantly brings you back to either you deceiving yourself or you thinking that you're going to be deceived or you feel like you're being deceived by somebody, these old wounds really need to be healed so that you can be the Fool. Because the Fool is like that brand new journey. That brand new opening of, I mean, I feel like there's like this portal that could open for you at any time. But if you stay stuck in the decision, it won't open up for you. So, you know, if it's a conversation you need to have, Page of Swords, maybe with an air sign, or maybe this is you feeling like you can't have that conversation quite yet. It's not the King of Swords, it's the Page of Swords. And this relationship is like ever eluding. I feel like you're going to keep slipping back into this thought process of, but I've been deceived in the past. I don't know. I've been deceived in the past. It's like, I don't want to touch that. I don't want to go there. What's the point if you don't take the risk? What's the point if you don't push forward into calmer waters? You know, look at things in a different perspective. We have the Hanged Man. We have Death, King of Wands, and the Knight of Wands. So somebody's kind of, could be a fire sign. We also have the Star, you guys, right there on the bottom of the deck. The change in perspective, Pisces, Scorpio, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, times 2. The change in perspective of what, you know, do I trust this person? Do I push forward? Do I recognize that even though they do come in and out, I have these very strong feelings for them? And maybe it's that you haven't healed this heartbreak quite yet and you can't move forward with a fire sign. Or maybe it's that all of the healing and all of the balance that you're doing right now is because of the fire sign. It doesn't even have to be a fire sign. It could be any sign. It's just somebody, like, let's talk about who the King of Wands is. Somebody who is very confident, who knows what they want, who goes for what they want. Somebody who doesn't just sit on the sidelines and watch it happen. This is somebody that actually, like, moves forward. This could be you. This could be what you want to represent, except you're like, I'm not really sure. Because the Knight of Wands is very wishy-washy. I don't know. And I feel like the Knight of Wands keeps going back into the past and thinking about everything that could go wrong, instead of going towards the future and thinking about all of the change that could happen, all of the amazing evolution that could happen if you just thought of it or looked at it differently. Does it have to be something that makes you constantly juggle in the air of what do I do, what do I do? It seems to me that you have a couple of people here that could be the reason for your back and forth nature. I have a water sign, I have a fire sign, I have 2 fire signs and a water sign here. And a lot of juggling happening. And if you don't want to get stuck in the back and forth of all of this juggling in April, and you want to push forward, then I suggest this conversation happens. And if you're like, I'm not ready for this conversation to happen, I want to tell you that you are. And to have patience with yourself while you're doing it. Because once you heal this part of you, once you find the balance within you, and you have this conversation with Temperance and the Star, you will feel like you can start cutting the bullshit out and leaving things behind. And not having to deal with the back and forth because you put your foot down. And you're like, no, you know, I don't need to. King of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. So, very stable people. Earth signs. Earth signs aren't very grounded right now. And so I kind of feel like if you're trying to, like, this is almost your goal. It doesn't matter, I mean, obviously both genders are out, but it doesn't matter what gender you are. I feel like towards the end of April, this is your goal. To be, like, in that stable energy. To be in that balanced energy. Don't let the confusion of the past change your perspective for the future. Because I do feel like you guys are ready for change. And it's like that really big, fantastic, awesome change. And it's for the better. And if you're feeling very stuck on which direction to go, on what decision to make, I feel like towards the end of April, by the end of April going into May, things will feel a lot more stable. It won't seem so messy. It won't seem so wishy-washy. Yeah? So I do hope you guys have a really great April. Again, I'm only going to be doing one video for you guys. And then I will start over again for you in May. If you'd like a personal reading, check out the InstantGo app. Also on fearlessintuition.net. You can look at all my personal readings. The Twin Flame Soulmate readings, overall love readings are on sale this month. So check that out, fearlessintuition.net. And have a really great April. And I hope you guys are doing so fantastically well. And I will see you for May. Bye.